Was there a little bit of personal, you wanted to show them after they did really try to assign them?
It's a lot that went on in those 5 years while I was there. But yeah, I definitely say it was a little personal. Just wanted to get the win and have a great performance from my end. And like I said, those guys allowed me to do it, and we was able to get the job done again.
Rico, if your message last week was buckle up to the Cowboys, what's your message after the game?
They weren't buckled up. No.
Fantasy Football Happy Hour with Matthew Berry.
Happy Monday. Welcome to the Fantasy Football Happy Hour. And shout out to Uncle Rico. He warned them. They didn't listen. Connor Rogers, Matthew Berry, Jay Croucher. Love me some Rico Dowdle.
Absolutely.
Keep playing him. Screw it.
I mean, honestly, he's right. The Cowboys were not buckled up. They were not at all. You at home should also buckle up. It's going to be a bumpy ride for the next hour.
What's going on?
We got a lot going on. Apparently, Rico Dowdle's the greatest fantasy football player that ever lived.
I was going to say, the rundown says, how do you value Dowdle moving forward? Have you guys heard of LaDainian Tomlinson?
Yes.
Because that's basically
a poor man's Rico Dowdle.
Yeah, exactly. That's basically what he is these days. But yeah, will he be disrupted by the Chubbler? That is the only question.
He almost has to be. It's weird.
Well,
it's
a highly paid starting running back.
Highly paid starting running back who had been productive, not as productive as Rico Dowdle, who now has back-to-back games with over 200 yards from scrimmage, almost 500 total yards in the last 2 weeks. He's averaging 30 touches a game. He's got a 19% target share. Each of the last 2 weeks, he's finished as the number one running back in fantasy football. And I get it because you're sitting here going like, well, he did it against the Cowboys. He did, he's done it against these bad teams. But other teams play these teams. They're not running for 200 yards, Connor.
No, the Panthers are a very good run blocking team even without some of their starters. This is a beautiful situation for a running back to be in. Truly, I think that's a narrative that people don't realize right now. The Panthers are an awesome situation for any running back to be in.
So the question is that, okay, we expect the Chubbler Jr., mini Chubbler,
mini
small
Chubb.
to come back here at some point, possibly as soon as this week. He's a highly paid running back who has been fairly effective in his career as a Carolina Panther, Jay Croucher.
Yeah, son of Chubb.
Yes, the son of Chubb.
Yeah.
But this performance by Rico Dowdle, by the way, they're 2-0. I mean, it's not like this is some junk time stuff. The Panthers are, I believe they're 3-3 on the season now.
That's what the math says.
Right?
Same record as the Chiefs. 2 wins clear of the Ravens.
Yep.
Look, I think the question is how much of it is a product of the defenses that they've faced. The Miami run defense is atrocious. The Dallas run defense is atrocious. By the way, they play the Jets this week. I don't think have the to be fair, they did okay against J.K. Dobbins.
That's the thing. The Jets aren't good, but the one thing they actually do is kind of contain the run.
Yeah, exactly. But you suspect that the Panthers will have game script there. And I think the sneaky thing for Dowdle in this run game is that Bryce Young hasn't been very good this year, and so they want to lean into the run as much as possible. Bryce was fine yesterday, did what he needed to do, gets T-Mac 2 touchdowns. But, yeah, I'm very interested in what the carry share will be between Dowdle and Chuba, because I think, now I understand that they paid Chuba Hubbard, but doesn't Dowdle have to get the bulk of the work now?
Yeah, listen, that's the thing, right? The toothpaste can't go back into the tube. And so if I had Rico Dowdle, it's like, oh, are you selling high? And the answer is I don't think I am, because I don't think you're going to get the value. I mean, listen, maybe you can, right? But I think you're better off riding it out with Dowdle in the hopes that he gets 70% of the work moving forward versus trying to – I definitely am not going to try to buy high, right? Because, this is unsustainable, and there's a chance that he's basically back into a committee. I think back to 2016 and Jay Ajayi, former Miami Dolphin, back-to-back 200-yard games in 2016, week 6 and 7 of that season with the Miami Dolphins. Now, he was running back 13 the rest of the way. He actually ended up having another 200-yard game in week 16, I believe. But while running back 13 is awesome, right? So he was a low-end RB1, high-end RB2. He wasn't what he was in week 6 and 7, which was the number one running back in fantasy. And so that's what I think is that with Dowdle here, I can't imagine. Listen, if somebody's willing to give you RB1 value for Rico Dowdle, great, go for it. But I think in just most normal leagues, you're not going to get the value back for Dowdle that's equal to the potential upside of him in the scenario where he just literally takes this job and runs away with it. Dave Canales is like, I'm sorry, Chuba, but Like we're not putting that toothpaste back in the bottle. We're not putting. I mean, like it is what it is. Like he's gotten there.
Yeah. Definitely not putting the toothpaste back in the bottle by any means.
Sorry.
Yeah, that's okay.
Tube.
As I was telling Matthew yesterday, Connor, Jay, my favorite football player of all time, because he has my name in it twice, and that makes you.
Right.
Yeah. Jay Cutler only has it in once, but JJ has it twice. I think the other big story out of this game, Matthew, was George Pickens, who has been an absolute beast. He's had these stretches before, but with CD Lamb out, now CD is expected to probably return this week. But what's the outlook, do you think, for Pickens going forward? Where does he settle in once CD comes back?
I think, obviously, look, because Dak Prescott is playing at such a high level and because their defense continues to be terrible, they're going to be in game script all the time. So I do think, look, do I think George Pickens is the number one wide receiver in fantasy the way he is as we head into Monday Night Football? No, I don't. But do I think he's an upside wide receiver too every single week? I do. I think CeeDee Lamb and George Pickens have a very real opportunity to be like sort of a version of Jamar Chase T. Higgins. Literally with Lamb in the Chase role and Pickens in the Higgins role. I think this offense and Dak Prescott are good enough to support two top 20 wide receivers, especially given how bad the defense is. And it's really, other than those two guys, it's Jake Ferguson in the red zone, and that's about it.
How different do you think Pickens is in Dallas as a player to what he was in Pittsburgh?
I just think he's so much more locked in on a week-by-week basis because of the target share, and maybe that does coincide, of course, with CeeDee's injury, but I don't think they're going to get away from him. He's just been too good. Him after the catch as well. He's just got different juice this year. I think he knows that Dak will take chances to him that maybe he didn't always get previously.
And I think he would win a bar bet with this one. No one in the NFL has more end zone targets this year than George Pickens. Like if I said to you, who do you think has the most end zone targets in the NFL this year? I bet you don't think it's George Pickens, but it sort of makes sense when you think about like how often they throw and the fact that Pickens is a really good 50-50 ball winner. Like, I mean, he is somebody that, if you throw it up, he comes down with it. He's more often than not going to come down with it. He tends to win those balls here. I don't know if you guys have any other thoughts on Rico Dowdle. I just don't want to, because that is the story. Like this guy that, went off in theory, a bad team, although to your point, they're 3-3, they're same as the Chiefs.
They're not.
I know, but
they're not terrible, but they're not.
You are what your record are.
But they're good at something.
Yeah.
And you shouldn't get away from what you're good at.
And knowing the deficiencies, knowing that the quarterback has struggled, that other than Tirico and McMillan, they don't have much in the passing game. And so if you're Dave Canales, you're like, listen, I've managed to squeak out a couple of wins here riding this guy. Why wouldn't I keep doing that? And so, speaking of somebody who has Chuba Hubbard in a couple of leagues, including a dynasty league that where I really need him, I'm bummed about this because I don't have Dowdle. But it's hard to.
Who would you rather have, Rico Dowdle or Quinshon Judkins?
The rest of the way?
Yeah.
I think still Judkins for me.
I'd rather have Dowdle. There's more upside. I just don't think
there's
Judkins
more upside with Dowdle, but the volume. I feel very confident that, barring no injury, Judkins is going to average 20 touches a game the rest of the year.
Yep.
Dowdle could go
3.9 yards per carry, loaded up.
Yeah, but Dowdle, Dowdle could get the workload he's getting. Dowdle could also go back to the wrong side of a timeshare. I don't think that's going to happen, but it's within the range of outcomes here. But it's close, and I think that's a good mark. I would probably rank Dowdle. If I was doing rankings for the rest of the season, I would probably rank him somewhere like in the 12 to 15 range among running backs. I think he's a mid-tier RB2, and if I knew Hubbard was out for the rest of the year, he's a top 5 back.
Yeah, the tricky one, too, is Dowdle's on a one-year deal in Carolina where do you pick up the phone? It's hard to do right now because he's leading you to wins, but this one from Oscar was offered Pickens and Henry for Tet, Pollard, and Pearsall. Do I do it?
Pickens and Henry. Yes. I assume that's Derek and not Hunter.
Yeah,
let's assume that's Derek.
Always assume Derek. I would rather have Pickens and Henry.
Yeah, I was going to say I would do that deal. We've talked about this. We think, first off, signs of life from Derrick Henry against, with Tyler Huntley and Cooper Rush. We'll get to that game. But, Derrick Henry, I thought, looked pretty good on Sunday, given all the givens. Lamar Jackson, they're on a bye this week. Lamar Jackson is back after that, and we do think the schedule gets a lot easier.
Yep. Mark my words. I called the end of Derrick Henry early. I was ahead of the curve there. Now I'm going to be ahead of the curve the other way. Derrick Henry, he's going to come home like an absolute steam train. He's going to be, once he comes off the bye, I think that he'll be a top 5 running back in football again because Lamar comes back. The schedule, like they're going to be favored in almost, they're going to be favored in I think every game the rest of the way. And I still, like Lamar is still such a cheat code for the run game.
Hey, it's Matthew Berry from NBCSports.com and RotoWorld.com, and I want to thank you so much for watching whatever it is you just watched, or if nothing else, being too lazy to click out of the autoplay after this video started, after whatever it is you actually wanted to watch finished. But now that you're here, I'd like to take a moment here to ask you respectfully now, okay? I'm asking you respectfully to subscribe to the NFL on NBC YouTube channel. You'll get the latest RotoWorld fantasy news headlines, all sorts of great shows, including my own Fantasy Football Happy Hour. So go subscribe now. Again, I'm asking respectfully.